Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no gun control. This is episode 631?
Am
I right about that? I think it's 631. We're going to go with that.
Yeah.
I think it's about 631
because I think last one was 630.
Yeah, I put the notes in the wrong
Ian will tell us if we're wrong.
Ian, fucking correct it or don't, whatever.
He'll figure it out.
Man, like we don't have to call up notes. We've got some talking to do.
Well, and so like last week, Tom and I decided to go out to dinner instead of doing the show. We wanted to just go out and just enjoy a dinner.
Yep.
So we decided to go out to dinner. We had a wonderful time, had some really great mixed drinks. It was a beautiful night. We had a great time. We had good food and we just hung out and we skipped the stream last week because we were like, you know what? Let's just take a week off. We had already recorded with Dr. Stephen Novella about his book and his upcoming book. And we thought, let's just take a week off.
Yep. We got a little bit in the can.
Yeah. You get a little bit ahead and you're like, you know what? We can let it catch up.
Right.
And so right before we recorded, I want to say the day or maybe the day before we recorded, there was that horrible shooting in Buffalo where there's it was at a place where there's a lot of black folk.
Yep.
They went in, there was a racist, a fucking racist,
foul racist, yes.
an absolute racist, someone who wrote a manifesto about replacement theory went in and killed a bunch of people. Within a week, we're talking now about a school shooting in Texas.
Yeah, We literally took 1 week off of recording and we have 2 unbelievably horrific
massacres.
I mean, there's so much to talk about. So let's start with the Buffalo shooting because we didn't talk about it. We need to talk about racism and replacement theory and the role that media has had and our current politicians have had in amplifying that horrifying message.
Absolutely.
So there's 2 important demographics, I think, that help to tie these pieces together. They're both 18-year-old males.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I know we've talked about this with other massacres. I don't want to go too far down this road again, but I just think it's important to say that when these massacres occur, it is never a question about whether or not a man did it or not. It's always a man. We talked about this before. 98% of all mass shootings are all committed by men.
And there was a 2017 article that surfaced this week that was talking about it's not just dudes. It turns out it's also dudes who hate women.
Yes.
And it turns out that is a factor. Domestic violence or something in their past is a factor in the killings too. So it's not just dudes. It's dudes that don't like women.
Yeah. And this is we have to acknowledge, I think, to at least some degree, that this is a gendered issue.
Sure.
Yeah, because I guarantee that if it was women doing these shootings, people would be screaming from the fucking rooftops.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, why? If we had a background check, and I know this is not a real suggestion, right? It's like a Liz Estrada style suggestion. If you had a background check that weeded out men from owning guns, most of the gun crime would go away.
You're
like that.
Absolutely right.
You would just need one question.
Yeah.
Male or female?
Yeah.
Male, no gun, fucking gun crime drops to 0 or near 0, right?
Sure.
Like this is a very male crime, and that's important, right? I think that's an important piece. But also, these are really young people right now.
Yeah.
These are young people. Young people's brains are not finished forming. They are, and I just rechecked my understanding of this just the other day in order to have this conversation with you. The brain is not done completing its physical structure building until the age of 25. In your late teens, you are not a rational person yet. The idea that 18 is this adulthood is a legal fiction.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any kind of scientific reality.
It's so we can have more soldiers.
It is exactly that. And when you measure teenagers, they make their decisions very emotionally and very irrationally. The rationality is an after fact because the brain structures that are part of doing that decision making simply aren't there.
Yeah.
They aren't there yet. So they're not as good. It's not that they can't do it. They're just not as good at it. So the impulse control is very low. Then on the other side, you've got politicians and media and social media amplifying these racist fucking messages like replacement theory. And or incel culture.
Sure.
Or, and these
anti-immigration
things, anti-immigration. They make their way into the zeitgeist of a population that literally does not have the ability to filter and rationalize and think through that information. Yeah. It seems fucking inevitable.
Yeah, something like that's going to happen.
Something like this is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
When 18 is an age where you can get a gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Not even 18. I mean, you can get a gun at an earlier age in our country, if it's gifted to you from someone else. Like if you want to buy it from a place, I think that the age is 18. But I think if you want to buy it from a private person,
I don't know that there is an age.
I don't know that there's an age. So there's, and also if you want to get a gift of a gun, you don't have to be that age. So you can even be younger than this. It just turns out that these people were 18.
That's true. Because to go to the store, you have to be 18.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. I could gift.
You could gift.
I could gift my 7-year-old
a gun.
pistol.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What a fucking crazy thing that is.
It's an insane thing. And this is a violent, shitty rhetoric. And it's not innocuous because, and the people who are spouting it are important people. You already said it. It's politicians and a lot of politicians. Yeah. It's Tucker Carlson. They did a daily show the other day, not the daily show, a daily podcast about Tucker Carlson a couple weeks ago, right after the shooting. And they talked about how many times he talked about replacement theory. Now, is he talking as drastically as this guy who shot up that grocery store in his manifesto? No, but the ideas are still there.
Right.
The ideas surfaced. They came to the surface in the national media attention when they did the Jews will not replace us chant down in Charlottesville. I mean, and somebody died down there. I don't know if you remember, somebody died down there. Like this kind of violent rhetoric has been happening for a long time. There are shitty, violent, awful people in the world. And this is not just an American problem. It's all over the world. They want to hurt other people. They're only successful in America.
Yeah.
They're only successful here because it's easy. Because it's
easy.
Fucking easy to hurt people you don't like, to hurt people you hate. You can do it in America so much easier than you can in every other country. Don't get me wrong. They have the internet. They have 4chan. They have, all the things ready to tune you up. They have shitty politicians. They probably have pundits that are awful. They can certainly get Tucker Carlson over there who can say the exact same message to them that he said to these people. But they don't have access to guns.
No, man. And here in America, guns are freely available because they're considered a right, but they're also cheap.
Yeah.
Guns are cheap. They're not can you spend a lot of money on a gun? Yeah, but you sure don't have to.
No.
You sure don't have to. Because I'll tell you what, a kid working at fucking Wendy's was able to put together enough money to buy 2 AR body style assault rifles.
Yeah.
2 plus 375 rounds of ammunition, I think is what they found him with. And he bought those guns. There's so much to talk about. He bought those guns about a week, from what I read, about a week before the shooting. There is this I'm talking about some of these counter arguments. There's this sort of we need people to, get licensed, get trained, get the fuck out of here. These things aren't complicated to use. Training is not the problem. I get it. Your grandpa and my dad and everybody's fucking best friend, they taught him to shoot, and they taught him all those good rifleman rules about, don't ever point at anything you don't want a hole in. None of that matters if you have ill intent. That's not the problem. Is not accidental shootings when we're talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is it takes the better part of a short afternoon with time for lunch to learn how to shoot a gun and put a hole in a body.
Yeah.
The fucking gun nuts pretend that one of the solutions is classroom and safety training. And what are you talking about?
That's a solution. That's a dumb idea.
That's a dumb fucking solution. The problem isn't that this guy didn't know. Oh, I guess I accidentally shot all those people. He purposely shot them.
Yeah.
These guys, they have no training. They don't need any fucking training because the weapons themselves are built to be intuitive to use and efficient at killing people. They also, both of these events involve body armor. Now, I've got to talk about the body armor thing. Body armor is a fucking problem. It's why the fuck do civilians need body armor? You need body armor in your house to protect yourself. Are you going to sleep in pajamas made of body armor? Body armor has one fucking use, and that's military style application. There's no reasonable civilian use.
I mean, unless you're like
fucking body armor.
If you're like a target for somebody shooting you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's it. Like there's only one reason to wear it. You're in danger of being shot.
Yeah.
Either you're going to put yourself in danger to being shot, or you're just like some sort of high level executive or something.
Sure.
And if that's the case,
there should be an application or permit.
Yeah, you should have to wear it. Just like, like back in the day when you wanted to carry a pistol, you had to you had to somehow tell people why you needed the pistol.
Right.
Like this was a long time ago, but you had to have some sort of reason. You had to write down a reason. I have large amounts of cash on me at certain points.
Yeah.
And so I need to carry a pistol or something. The same thing should go for me. Absolutely. Because if they're buying that, that's the thing that makes them, it's all these little pieces that make them do it. It's that opportunity thing you talked about a while ago. We talk about if you take away and you make things a little more difficult, they don't have to be a lot more difficult. They don't have to be, this amazing difficult thing. If you just make it a little more difficult, it stops happening. You put a little safety catch on something, and then suddenly people stop, doing fucking carbon monoxide deaths or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it just takes the tiniest little bit of, and so you start taking away their opportunity to get body armor, their opportunity to easily get a gun. And we're not even talking about stopping people from getting a gun. It's just easily obtaining a gun.
Right. It's so easy.
Every time these people talk, the Republicans talk about it and they corner them and they walk up with the fucking microphone and then they ask him the question. One of the things they inevitably say is, well, those Democrats, they say they have the solutions, but none of those things would have prevented them from getting a gun. And my answer to that is then make something that will, man.
Yeah, I know, man.
Do something that'll fucking stop it, because it happens every goddamn week. And you're just like, well, they don't have the solution. Well, then fucking figure it out. What do we hire you for?
Yep.
Why are you here? Fucking punch your card and go home and get somebody in your position that can do something about it, because you don't fucking do anything about it. Week after week, they could fucking wheel the dead kids in front of you and you don't fucking care.
No.
Well, find somebody who does, man.
Yeah, thank you. Because there was an article I read today in the Federalist that said something, I'm going to paraphrase the headline, but only a little bit. It was something like, don't be suckered by do something-ism on guns. And the whole thing was about how the Democratic propositions for gun control wouldn't help. And it's like, to your point, then what's your suggestion?
Then do something that will.
It's like, this is not a perfect solution. Great. Would it help a little?
Yeah.
A lot of problem solving involves narrowing the funnel.
Yeah.
Right? So if we still had mass shootings, but we had, less of them, that would be inherently good.
That's better.
That's better. Is it perfect? No. Should we do nothing until it's perfect?
That's the problem, too.
We're going to do nothing because you don't have a perfect fucking solution?
You're frozen until you can do something perfect. It's like...
And the Republicans know it. They can sit back on their ass and say, because it's not perfect, meh.
Well, and then there's the other thing, too. Well, they'll point to other countries that have gun control and be like, there's still mass shootings. Like, yeah, they had 1 in 20 years.
Right.
I'll trade 1 a week for 1 in 20 years.
All day.
I will trade that anytime. They'll be like, well, the people still die. There's still mass stabbings. Or I'm like, I will tell you right now, politician, you got 2 rooms to walk into. They're 30 by 30 rooms. You got to spend 30 seconds in there. One guy's got an AK-47 with a full clip. The other guy's got a real sharp knife. Which fucking room you going in? Because every day you're going to walk in there with a fight. And then let's just say that it's like, the thing is they talk about these knives as if they're the worst thing in the world. You're just like, look, man, it takes a lot to kill somebody with a knife, and it takes a lot of fortitude of that person. It takes no effort whatsoever to murder someone with a gun.
None.
It's a calorie energy, and they move on to the next one. They don't have to gruesomely kill somebody with a knife. That's a gruesome, terrible way to, and then they're fighting you, and then you have an opportunity to get hit. You don't just go run in and kill 40 people with a knife.
And while you're involved in that, everybody else can run.
Yeah.
It's there's 100 reasons that's fucking stupid, but also it's great, fine. Even if I concede that point, you know what I'll do? I'll solve the knife problem after I solve the gun problem.
Let's see if the knife problem even takes off.
Right.
Let's cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Can we solve them in order? Can we, you know what I mean? It's if I went to the doctor, and they ran a fucking body scan and they're like, okay, bad news. You've got lung cancer and a stubbed toe. And I said, well, fuck me. I don't know what to do something about first.
Yeah. Or
you'd slap the fucking taste out of my mouth.
Why fix the cancer if I have a stubbed toe?
Right. Or like, what if they said, well, your toe is, you know what? You got turf toe. That's just never going to go away. But the lung, and you have lung cancer. They'd be like, well, then I guess if I can't fix the fucking hurdy toe,
exactly,
there's no reason to treat the lung cancer.
What's the point? There's no reason.
Put me in the fucking ground right now.
Put me in that room with the guy with the AK-47.
Can we talk about the fucking mental health fucking...
because there's no... Yeah, because the rest of the world doesn't have mentally ill people
Also, you want to have a fucking mental health conversation? Let's have a healthcare conversation.
Yeah, right?
Mental health care in this country is absolute shit. It is absolute shit. It is absolute shit.
Absolutely.
In part because it's fucking expensive like all other healthcare in this country, because you don't have a right to it, because there's no single payer healthcare, because it's not covered by any fucking kind of government program unless you happen to be on Medicare. And many private health insurance companies have limits on your mental health care coverage. The Republicans are trying to foist this off, and they're trying to say it's not guns, it's mental health. And it's like, great, will you solve the healthcare crisis in this country? And they're like, no. So your solution is to point it. It's like, the problem is this bottle. Well, what are you doing about this bottle? I'm also going to ignore that. What the fuck? Stop fucking my mouth. You're fucking my ass at the same time. What are you talking about?
It's the worst shell game in the world.
It is.
Yeah, it's terrible. And the rhetoric doesn't help. The rhetoric doesn't change it. But I mean, man, everywhere in the world doesn't have this issue. Everywhere in the world. There's no place in the world that has the issue we have with guns killing people. You look at that, what do they call it? Port Arthur is what it's called.
Yeah, the Port Arthur shooting in
Port Arthur
Australia.
shooting. Like, somebody went out and fucking murdered a bunch of people, and then they're just like, yeah, man, that's not happening anymore.
Nope.
And
same thing with New Zealand. New Zealand had the mass shooting in the mine, and they were just like, no, those guns are gone.
That's done. We're not doing that anymore. And the thing is, like, you can have a gun in those places. Like, in Australia, I was talking to somebody down there, and they were saying, yeah, man, you can own a gun. It just takes a lot to get one. You got to have a reason to have one. I have fucking varmints on my fucking property. I got to shoot a fucking kangaroo off my property or whatever. So I need
like drop bears everywhere.
I gotta shoot all this stuff at my property. I got fucking snakes and fucking funnel webs and whatever the fuck. I got to shoot it. And so there's like a form and a lot of work. And the same thing is true in Europe. Like, there's plenty of places you can own a gun in Europe. It's just really hard to do. And then you also have to have safeguards. There's so many little things, like, let's roll back to that thing that we were talking about. If you just put a little tiny speed bumps in front of people, little things, it slows down these mass shootings. Really, really, really intent people are going to do it anyway. They're going to find a way to do it. That fucking Andrix Breivik or whatever guy's name was,
he was going to
kill people no matter what happened. There was not a chance that he wasn't going to kill people. He found a way to get a gun, found a way to get isolated people, and he found a way to murder them because he wanted to murder people. He was going to do it no matter what. You're never going to stop those people. But those people are few and far between. Everybody else is lazy, man. Everybody else is lazy.
We're like, these were two 18-year-old boys. Can you think of anything lazier than an 18-year-old boy?
If you would have fucking had change in your hand and jingled it, they'd have followed that instead. You could have changed their mind instantly if they would have just had one hurdle. Just one hurdle.
Dude, also, how insane is it that we're just like, we're unwilling to like not make it hard to kill people? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, well, I guess we should just make that easier then. Like, the solution is to keep it easy, to keep access as open. I don't want it to be difficult, because what if it was difficult for me to buy? Look, I've never, as a regular guy who likes shooting sports, I've gone hunting, like whatever. Like, if somebody said it's going to take you 6 months to buy a gun, I'd be like, okay, that's inconvenient. But I wouldn't care.
But then you'd figure it out.
Right. Because there's no fucking gun-related emergency
in your life.
In a regular person's life. Why are we making it easier for crazy people and murderers and racists and misogynists? Like, our solution is to fucking grease the wheels.
Make it faster.
With the blood of people, man.
And then the other thing too is they want to always put it on prevention through force. So there's all these conversations about, well, let's make sure the teachers have fucking AK-47s and there's fucking turrets in the room and they fucking focus on people like fucking Ed 209 or whatever. Like fucking kid walks up to go fucking wipe the board down and gets fucking mutilated by the guns in the room. But it isn't that it wouldn't be any more dangerous than it currently is. But seriously, like they want to make it so like there's these people that have, they have armed guards. Well, they had armed guards at this school. They had armed guards at this school. Guess what? It didn't do anything, man. It didn't do anything. And I know there's reports now. There's reports now coming out. And I don't know if it's true because there's people talking about it.
It's happening today.
It's happening today, and I can't confirm it. But there's video of them standing there outside while it's happening, not going in, because nobody runs into a place where there's an active shooter, man. I don't care how much guns and body armor you have. Most people don't do it because it's terrifying. And if these people are just like security guards or something, what the fuck are they doing? They're not gonna do that.
They think they're like taking some kid's fucking vape pen.
Yeah.
They think they're like breaking up a fight here or there.
They're stopping.
That's what they fucking signed up to do.
Exactly.
Like they didn't sign up. But also like giving these people guns and then giving them access to school presupposes that the next person who wants to kill people isn't going to be a teacher.
Yeah.
Or isn't going to be a guy who gets the job as the fucking security guard. Like, we need less violent weapons in the world. Just less. Like, to the point of none. And I know that the solution and I propose it, but I know it's a garbage solution. We should just repeal the Second Amendment. It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment is a complete piece of shit.
You'll never get,
That's
the
never
political
gonna
will to do. And I know that everybody around the world is going to ask us and say, well, why don't you guys just not have guns? And you're like, well, because that's not an option here.
Right.
That's not an option. But I do think, you could slow the fucking coffins, the baby-sized coffins from going in the ground very easily by putting in little tiny roadblocks.
Yep.
It's like, it's a longer waiting period. It's a longer questionnaire. It's there's like 25 different things that you could do. There's a longer, you got to get a fucking reference, a couple references.
Thank you. You should have to get like a psychological workup done.
Yeah.
Right? I also think bullets should be real expensive. Think about how fucking expensive cigarettes got. Cigarettes have gotten crazy expensive because we recognize like, wow, that's a really dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Like cigarettes are fucking dangerous. People probably shouldn't smoke them. If we create a financial barrier, it will make it less palatable for people to do this stuff. It's just true.
Yeah.
Like there will just be less ammunition floating around. Ammunition is so cheap.
But the problem is you got to have the political will to tax the shit out of it.
And people will say, oh, you can't tax a right.
Yeah.
Well, we already tax it. There's already a state income tax on it, right? Like we can tax certain products higher than other products. Yeah. We know that from cigarettes. Yeah. We do that. Like you buy a pack of cigarettes in like Cook County, it's like $75 or something.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable.
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You actually have to pay with one of your lungs. Like you have to take one of your lungs out of your body.
I have not bought cigarettes at Cook County.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's
$15 probably a pack, I imagine. So it's expensive. Yeah. And so, but the roadblocks could be put in. And you could do things like you're saying, and you could, there's plenty of different laws that could be passed. Like there's ways to do this. Yeah. And there's just no political will to get it done at all. There's a ton of pressure not to do it from the other side. And then it's all just whataboutism and switching hands and it's all this magician bullshit that they play when this happens to try to get your mind off of changing gun laws.
Get the fuck out of here! Now!
Or you do what exactly? Hit me with that fish.
This story comes from NPR. Guns are banned during Trump's upcoming speech at the NRA conference. The reason I put this in here is fairly self-evident, but these guys are the ones who love to say that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. But here is a room full of gun supporters who believe that exact narrative.
Yeah.
But when their lives are potentially on the line, what do? They demand a gun-free zone. Why? Because they feel safer with less guns.
Yeah. And it's 100% evident. And the other thing too is it's in bad taste to have these things anyway so close to shootings, but they do it all the time. Yeah. Like these things, and it's because shootings happen all the time, and it'd be impossible for them to schedule one of these without, because there's always a mass shooting in the United States. Always. So there's no way that they could have like 2 weeks buffer around a mass shooting in the United States. It's impossible to do. So that they're always scheduled around some mass shooting, but they're like, this one is like really close to this this brand new one that just happened.
School shooting.
And it's in terrible taste, and they don't care, and they're going to go to a big room where there's no guns, and then there's Secret Service there protecting that room from guns.
Well, and did you see the when Governor Abbott was talking, and then the mayor of Uvalde was talking at a press conference, and Beto O'Rourke got up and he interrupted the press conference, and he's like, "What are you going to do to solve this problem?" And the most incredible thing is Governor Abbott got pissed, and he's like, "You son of a bitch! You're trying to turn this into a political issue," and it's like, you're all politicians.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason that anybody ever listens to one, because yes, it's a political issue.
Yeah.
Of course it is. And you are here in your official fucking capacity as a politician decrying that somebody is asking you to solve a problem when that's the job. You stood up in front of voters and said, hire me to solve the problem.
Yeah.
The Republicans keep saying, you're trying to make this a political issue.
And you're like, yeah, well, how do we fix it then? Or how do we, what gives you the right to have these guns? They're like, well, laws do. Okay, right. Well, who handles making laws?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, it's literally one step of Kevin Bacon to figure this out. It doesn't take a fucking legal genius. I don't need to be a law talking guy to figure out that you need to have laws in order to stop the stem of fucking blood that's flowing from this country. It's a political issue. Period.
Yep.
That's what it is.
And it's such bullshit because, like, to your point, there's a mass shooting all the time.
Yeah.
So the Republicans can do this thing where they say, oh, not right now. It's in bad taste. It's always too soon. But if you talk to anybody that survives these shootings, the first thing they say is, when are you going to stop this?
Yeah. Absolutely.
What the fuck? Why is it now my wife? Dude, I read a story. It's the fucking among the so many heartbreaking stories, I want to say it's the most heartbreaking. Because that's impossible at this point to compare the amount of heartbreak in the last 8 days. But like, the husband of one of the teachers that was killed died of a heart attack yesterday or today. And I have to imagine that this did not help. That like this literally died of an actual broken heart after his wife was murdered.
Sure.
Doing her job, trying to protect little kids. Like a fourth grader's a little kid,
These are
man.
babies. These are babies.
Little. I have kids this age. These are little. These are kids that sometimes they cry when they're hungry still. Yeah. You know? Like, these are kids that, like, if they get too excited, maybe they'll forget to come in and, like, have an accident. Not very often, but, like, that's a thing sometimes an 8 or 9 year old can do.
It's like a shirt one of them was wearing that said, like, peace to the single digits, I'm 10 is what it said on their shirt. Dude, and it's like, I'm 10 years old. You're like 10 years old, a decade. Yeah. You spent a decade on Earth and now you're gone. And that's it. And the people there, and this isn't just one kid. What was it, 18? 19 kids? 19 fourth graders. Unbelievable, man. We let this happen too often in this country. And then, you know, the problem is that if you watch this thing with Trump, if you were to watch this thing, you're going to hear him talk about how great guns are and how they're the solution to everything, and the Democrats are trying to take your guns away. And what's protecting you from tyranny? What is protecting? The only thing that stands between you and tyranny. America has this narrative. That like, that we're all these like Minutemen just waiting to be mobilized. We're on the wall waiting for the attack to come. Right. Yeah. But that's just an untruth. That is an untruth. A bunch of fucking yokels with their fucking personal armory supply of piddle fuck garbage guns, because that's what you have. Are they great for killing innocent people that are unarmed? Because that's how they're used. Yeah, they're amazing at that. But are they good against drone strikes from an organized military? They were talking about like a bunch of fucking suburban dads. Yeah, man. These guys can't run a fucking mile in 12 minutes without throwing up. And they're going to protect us. I will say this too. Fuck out of here. And the worst part too is that like throughout the last 40 years with the war on drugs, we have militarized so many just regular police stations. Oh, yeah. That have like SWAT and bulletproof cars and and just, like big shields and, fucking bulletproof shields and
they got fucking tanks,
and
man.
guns and like body armor that covers everything and helicopters. I don't care what you have. Even just your police force.
Yep.
There's nothing. So the idea that you're going to fight against tyranny or whatever is not.
It's fucking nonsense.
It's a dumb fabricated
nonsense.
narrative. And every single time there's ever any kind of group of people that ever want to stand up for the government, it's always the Republicans that say crush those motherfuckers.
Because they're the law and order group.
They're the law and order group too.
It's this weird, like, hypocritical narrative of everybody that a lot of these gun lovers, like these fucking gun gripping they've got this like dirty, hairy, fucking bald eagle Minutemen mentality.
So weird.
And it's so weird because
such a weird transformer.
Man, it is.
Yeah.
And there's this like independent militia movement, and that's perfectly right-wing fine. But then like if brown people have guns, they're fucking thugs.
Yep.
And it's all nonsense and it's all bullshit and it's all lies. And the only way to stop this from happening is to get rid of the fucking guns.
We just got to do something about it.
Get rid of them.
I wish that there was the political will in this country to do something about it.
I know.
Sit back, you fucking freak! Shut your fucking mouth! You're no messiah. You're a movie of the week. You're a fucking t-shirt.
This story comes from the Huffington Post. Investigation reveals top Southern Baptist stonewalled sex abuse victims. And I think this is an interesting story because we've read this story about the Mormons.
Yeah.
We've read this story about the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
We've read this story about many mosques, about the Catholic Church. And now here it is with the Southern Baptist Church. And one of the sort of pushbacks on this as well, there is no real top-down hierarchy with the Southern Baptist Church. It's really a bunch of decentralized, smaller churches, except that that's bullshit. Because as soon as one of the Baptist churches want to recognize gay marriage, all of a sudden there is a top-down hierarchy. And as soon as like women have some say or control, all of a sudden there is some top-down hierarchy.
Sure.
And this story really shows how organizationally the Baptist Church not only abused people, but worked just like the Catholics did.
Just like they did, yeah.
To hide it.
Yeah, and it's always, like people in power. This happens in businesses. It happens in the military. It happens, there's all the time whenever someone is in power, there's opportunity. There's a chance that there may be some sexual misconduct, right? Some sort of sexual assault. It could be, very drastic sexual assault. It could be, mild sexual, some sort of like sexual harassment. It can be something, right? That can happen in any kind of situation. It's awful. It's terrible. And if you take care of it right away and you excise it from your organization, then, it's like, okay, yeah, that happens. But, that's just human nature. Like you try to put safeguards in as best you can, but you can't prevent it 100%.
Right.
But when you cover it up, you're actively evil.
Yeah.
You're taking steps to be actively evil, to hurt people. This is hurting human beings so that you can protect yourself. This is just as evil as anything else that we would consider ultimate evil.
Right. And
you're doing it on not just a onesie-twosie basis. This is in one place. This is systemically. You're doing this because you can get away with it. And this is a problem with churches. They do it, they get away with it, and then they keep it hidden forever. Yep. And then they just keep doing it over and over, and then they shuffle people around, and then they do more of it, and then they hide it under the rug, or they stonewall people, or they force them not to say things. And it's just, this is a terrible, terrible thing that they propagate and that lives in churches. It lives there and it stays there because it has a beautiful, nice, warm home there.
Dude, that's exactly right. They like make no mistake, they foster intentionally this exact activity.
Absolutely.
This is not, and because the only time they're sorry is when they're caught.
Absolutely.
Right? First of all, no matter who you are, organizationally or individually, the only time that you recognize your moral culpability is when you're caught. Is that the only time you're sorry? Then you don't actually recognize your moral culpability, right?
Yeah.
That's not a recognition of your moral culpability. That's a recognition of your accountability. And moral accountability is different. So it's a bullshit dodge, first of all. Second of all, they are actively working to recruit, maintain, and foster an environment that not only allows this to happen unpunished, but encourages it to happen again. Because as soon as you know somebody is a sexual predator, and then you allow them a fertile hunting ground, then you are basically opening up the fucking door and saying, like, have fucking at it.
Yeah, man.
And that's what they've done. They did it for decades. And there's nothing unintentional. There's nothing accidental. And it is, again, we talked about this on the show. This is the easiest moral question.
Easy.
And the easiest procedural question.
You get it right every time. It's 100% easy to get
This
right.
isn't complicated.
Just get rid of the people. Just get rid of the people and report them to the police. Get rid of the people, report them to the police.
Yep.
The moment it happens, you get rid of the people and you report them to the police. That's it.
You used to work here. Now you're fired. I called the cops.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's done. Like, we're done.
Yeah. The end.
Handsy slapsy.
The end.
You know, if it turns out that you're exonerated, we'll rehire you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll rehire you. I'll give you back pay. But if it turns out that, you're a sex predator, you stay fired.
Sure.
You go to jail because I called the cops.
Yeah. Yeah.
100% of the time.
Man. Yeah. And they're gonna they once in a while there'll be some sort of push internally to do something. And so that's what this was.
Yeah.
There was a push internally to do something.
Yeah. And they hired like a third party.
It was a third party to do
I think
it.
is great.
And they found a lot of stuff, man.
Yep.
The third party was like, they weren't invested in this, and they just said, oh man, we're gonna find a whole bunch of shit. And they did.
Yep.
They fucking did, man. And it's an appalling thing, but it's the most predictable thing in the world.
I know.
It's the most predictable. Of course it happened. Sure.
Yep.
You can get away with it in the public eye for a long time if nobody comes forward, but eventually something's going to come to light.
At this point, don't you think genuinely, don't you think government has to get involved?
I feel like,
all right, look, here's the deal.
Got to do something, man.
If as an organization you are found to have covered this up, you lose your tax exempt status. We no longer recognize you as a church, and we're foreclosing on all your property.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You can't be here anymore, because in order for you to have a religious claim of authority, you have to have some moral authority.
Yeah.
And if you have actively chosen to cede that moral authority to rapists, then
what
we're
the
done.
Fuck.
We're done.
What the fuck, man?
We're absolutely done. I'm sorry, but all your property is
man.
ours.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
You're wiped the fuck out.
This is not combat. It's an act of lunacy, General Sir. Personally, I think you're a fucking idiot.
This story comes from LGBTQ Nation. Right-wing extremist promises to hunt LGBTQ allies during Pride Month in shocking video.
Okay, so I watched this earlier. Yeah. I just want to know from you, does it sound like a troll to you? Does it sound like someone who's pretending that they're going to do this? Now, I don't know, because they do talk about this person, sort of having right-wing ties. So clearly, if he has right-wing ties, it's a long con, right?
Yeah,
if that's the case. But it doesn't sound real to me. When I watched it, I was like, is this person for real?
Yeah, I got an impression that I did get an impression that he was speaking at the very most figuratively.
Figuratively. Okay.
So I did not get an impression that he was actually suggesting that he was going to hunt.
Yeah.
Hunt.
But the thing is we talked before, and we talked many times about when somebody says something, believe them.
Yes.
And so, this is one of those things where if somebody knocked on his door and had a lot of questions for him, I don't think that I would have any problem with that.
Yeah, man. And I actually think you hit on something I wanted to talk about. So we're at a place, we've talked about this before. We're at a place where there's a trollification.
Yeah.
Right. And it's problematic because it becomes impossible to suss out what's intended and what's meant and what's genuine from what's not. And then, we now have a group of people who have these ideas that we all would have thought were bullshit, extreme trolling nonsense that have actualized into the physical world and created enormous amounts of misogynist and racist violence.
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking about this the other day. I think the way to combat trolls is to take them at face value.
Take them with this. If you said it, you meant it.
Yep. Don't allow anywhere in your life, and I mean politically, law enforcement wise, everywhere else, don't allow any of that. It's just trolling.
Yeah.
That's gone. We can't afford it.
Yeah.
We literally cannot existentially afford this anymore. Now, when people say something, it's like, And I'm not talking about joking. There's a difference between a joke.
No, absolutely. I 100% agree.
But guys, here's the difference. If I tell a joke and you say, I don't understand your joke, explain it. I can.
Yeah.
When a troll is just joking and you say, I don't understand your joke, can you explain it? They can't.
They're or they can, but it's just going to be hatefully racist or violent.
Right. But it won't be a joke. It won't have a punchline.
There's no joke.
Right.
They can explain it,
Yes.
but the only way to explain it is through something that nobody wants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. A joke that falls flat can be explained and you'll understand what I meant for the punchline. A troll is not a joke.
Yeah.
And we just need to start taking these fuckers seriously.
Yeah.
So when you say I'm going to hunt LGBT, then somebody should knock on his door.
Then somebody should be like, okay, that's threatening
Because
a protected class of citizen. You know, this is people, I don't know if they are protected. They might not be in their state.
I don't know. Yeah. But we need to do this because 8 days ago, somebody went hunting in Buffalo in a grocery store.
Yeah, somebody did. Let's watch it. And then maybe the audience can decide. But I agree with you. I think, you know what? You said it. Either you mean it or you don't. Do you mean it or you don't? So here we go. Let's play this.
So guys, this June, me and my boy Kyle, we're going to be exposing Target. So, Target, you might as well perma-ban me forever across all your stores in the United States, because if you don't, we're going to be coming to every single one, and we're going to be exposing every single Pride, Pride Shrine, satanic pride shrines for children. We're going to be exposing every single one. We're going to be pressing all the managers at every single Target. We're going to find and expose all the LGBT supporters, all the employees that support it. We're going to be exposing them. We're going to make massive scenes in every single Target across Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, so across Phoenix, Arizona. Across it, he's going to do it. Now, here's the thing. This I totally believe, right? You're going to go and be a dick at a store with a TikTok camera or a camera phone in your hand and you're going to be an asshole. I get that. And I trust you will do that.
I fully believe that a man with that mustache will behave like an asshole.
Absolutely. Oh, no. I mean, it's prerequisite. It's a prerequisite when you get that mustache.
There is no way you can walk around with that mustache and do good in the world.
100% agree.
It's impossible.
Agree. Yeah.
And we're not going to let corporate poison the children. So Target, we're giving you a heads up.
It's like not even, okay, so like here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
I get mustaches. You want to wear a mustache, that's cool. But it's like not cut right. So like one side comes down and one side goes out if you look at it. It's not even. It doesn't look even. Man. It doesn't look like, it looks like he kind of just eyeballed it in his mirror.
Yeah. And this is, you guys, if you're not watching the video of us, like don't do this. This is the worst. It's just the worst. He's missing the middle section of the mustache.
Yeah. He did a whole
so he's got like a reverse Hitler or whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that is, but it's just like, and then like his mustache is, and then it's wrong it's not symmetrical, and then it also just like fades into his shitty stubble face.
It does. It's got a fade in his mustache.
So like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, man, it looks weird. I'm just saying it looks weird. Yeah. That's all. It's a weird choice.
Can you have bed mustache? Like if you roll out of bed and don't take care of your hair, you got bed hair.
Here's the thing, man. When I wake up in the morning, most of the time my beard looks pretty good because it's sort of flat. It's always sort of flat and like against my face and looks good. And then like as I get through the day, I'm just like, and I look like a crazy mountain man.
Dude, I am the opposite. I wake up in the morning and like, I don't know what I am doing, but like I wake up and my beard is like pushed all off to one side and like pointy and like it's fucking bonk and it won't straighten until I shower.
No kidding.
Yeah. Like I mean, it will if I just like let it go half the day, but like if I just get up right away and try to like brush it straight, it's going to be like, nah, man, I'm at least at a 15
My beard looks great after I fall asleep.
Oh, I look horrible.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't want.
I look terrible the rest of the day though, so I only get like 15 minutes.
Kudos to Haley for agreeing to wake up next time.
That, we're going to be coming after you hard. I've already exposed you guys pretty good, but, this is going to be next level stuff, so.
Christ wins. LGBT loses.
Yep.
See, that to me, I see that and I think that's a joke, right? Like that's a joke, right?
I don't know, man. It's impossible. That's the thing.
It's like
how do you tell?
You don't know. It's a Poe.
I'll be honest. I look at these two guys and just even from the look, the one guy he genuinely looks like the dude from Super Troopers. The guy who just spoke.
He looks like looks like he's in the Sabotage video.
Yes,
He looks like he's.
That's it.
Right?
the look, everything, but because we're in a world where you can't tell anymore. You can't tell what's satire. We can't satirize anymore.
I mean, I look at them and I think both of them, I'm like, you guys are joking,
this
right?
looks like a costume.
You guys look like you put on costumes. You cut your facial hair like that because of this.
Right.
That's what I think.
This is what you would do if you were tomorrow, if you were going to shave all your facial hair off. You would probably do the same thing I would do, which is you'd come out of the bathroom
with like a mustache.
shaved all crazy.
Yeah, or with a mustache or whatever. Be like I would do the mustache that would come up here or whatever. Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, no, what do you think? This is where I'm going.
I would, I'd be like, Fu Manchu.
Yeah, like here we go.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I'd come out with it braided on my beard like this or whatever. I'd be all fucked up. Fucking A.
If I would plant nice clothes and just come out all dressed as if I was ready to go out.
Like you're ready to go out.
Yeah. Because that's funny.
Because it's good. Yeah.
But then I would get sent back into the bathroom to do a good job.
Yeah, because then, but when I see this, I think these people are dressing for a reason to make a joke.
Right.
But then again, like you said, I don't know what's real anymore.
Because look, the neckbeard went from an insult to an actual thing.
So yes, you don't know.
The neckbeard for a long time. Remember that? Like fucking neckbeards. That was like an insult. But now neckbeards are a fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, I also like to hunt LGBT supporters on my free time. That's one of my favorite pastimes, you know. We're also, we're going to be going on hunting expeditions pretty soon. You know, hunting the LGBT supporters across Arizona and Phoenix. So, you know, keep an eye out for that because, you know, you're not safe. If
you say stuff like that, you should be arrested.
You should, yeah.
There's somebody should be at least knocking on your door, be like, you're threatening a group of people. That's a threat, man.
And the other reason why this has to be taken seriously, no matter what his actual like internal intentions are, right? This is a public statement now. And this will radicalize other people.
Yeah.
Just like we saw that asshole that shot up Buffalo.
Sure.
How did he get radicalized?
Yeah. He had to watch somebody's video. Right. He had to watch Tucker Carlson or whoever.
Exactly. These guys are watching videos of this shit that some of these people might be trolling.
Yeah.
But none of that matters.
Doesn't matter.
Because if I can't tell, if I can't suss that out,
if the intent is there,
then it's genuine.
Don't know.
Right.
Support the LGBT agenda. You're not safe. You're not safe. Right, Kyle?
Yep.
You're not safe.
No.
They're not safe.
Ethan finds you. Ethan finds everyone.
Yep. Can't hide from me.
All right, so that's it. I have a feeling it'd be very easy to hide from that guy. I'll just hide under the soap.
Right. I think as long as you weren't in a basement, specifically his mom's, he wouldn't find you.
But I see that and it looks like an act to me.
Yeah,
it looks like an act, man. I just don't see it. But I'm like, I'm with you though, man. I'm 100% with you.
Yep.
You know what? Let's just do this. Let's do this. Let's send the cops to your house. Let's talk to you. Let's look through your stuff because you're the one who's putting it out in the world.
Man.
You're putting hate speech out into the world. You should be treated like somebody who puts hate speech out into the world.
And at the very least, talking about guns again, at the very least, okay, you put this shit out in the world, you're going to go hunt people. You're going to hunt other.
Your name should go on a list. Your name should go on a list at that point.
You should not. Now you're background check flagged. And if you have guns, they get taken away from that red flag.
Sure.
Law. Like we need to be paying attention. You know, a lot of these assholes, not all of them, but a lot of them have very public personas where they express a desire to hurt other people with violence.
Yeah.
And I think if you're like putting that shit out there, you don't get to say, well, I need this for defense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
You're just going to have to defend yourself like those kindergartners do.
Right.
By running.
Right.
That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to run for your life.
Jump out a window like some of those
Go run
kids
for your
had to.
life.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what they're going to have to do for those kids? They're going to have to like individual bomb shelters that they go down into.
Just everybody on their desk has a trapdoor lever they can pull.
Trapdoor that they pull and go in.
Like mini panic rooms.
It's so funny because they've been building some of these places too, some of the schools with like panic room door type things with like bars and shit on them and like that's where we're at, man. Where we gotta build, we got a fucking architectural solution, but we don't have a fucking gun solution.
We don't have a policy solution.
We don't have a policy
because we don't have a
yet.
social answer.
Yeah, exactly.
When he moved to Hollywood, he had to go door to door to tell everyone he was a pederast.
What's a pederast, Walter?
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
This story comes from onlysky.media. I gotta say real quick, I don't know what Only Sky is, but I keep seeing it.
Yeah.
And I've seen it and it appears to be well vetted. And I've looked and I've found this same story in several other places.
Let's see if there's an about. Hold on a second.
But this is a new news source for me. And so
It's Hemet. Urgency of secular values. So it's a secular.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I have used them, but I've vetted them independently.
Yeah, no, you find this story somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, but yeah, this is Hemet.
That's funny because I did grab this one on purpose because I liked his take on it.
Yeah. And it turns out it's Hemet.
Turns out it's Hemet.
So, and he has great takes. He's a smart guy. He writes great. His blog is excellent. His tweets are excellent. He has been holding religious people's feet to the fire for a long time, over a decade.
Yeah.
So,
great guy.
Yeah.
Church embraces pastor who admits to adultery despite victims saying she was 16. So when they say embrace, you've got to understand what they mean is they have a great big giant group hug.
Yeah. Literal. It's a literal embrace.
Yes. And the group hug, so what this pastor stands in front of his church and he goes on this long, woe is me, please forgive me rant, right?
Yeah.
And it's this, I was unfaithful 20 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever the number was. I was unfaithful to my wife. My wife knows it. And I had an affair and I shouldn't have done it. And I'm not making any apologies. And I've sought forgiveness from God. And now I'm seeking forgiveness from you guys. And if that was the whole story, that would be just another attention-seeking bullshit.
It's trivia.
Right?
It's trivia. It's scandal. It's whatever it is in your little church. It's hush hush.
Right. And I do want to say it that way intentionally because I think this sort of thing is like, all right, if you reconcile this with your family and with your God, the only reason you're coming out to your church is because you know that there is a social value within your in-group to confession.
Yeah.
And the bigger thing you confess, the more everybody in your weird forgiveness cult gets to feel good about patting themselves on the back for forgiving you for. So he gets the fucking big attention that he wants, and the crowd gets to feel magnanimous for their forgiveness.
I've seen it happen in secular groups too, where like there's sort of something that happens between two people, and then like one person will say something, and then they get head pats on like Facebook and stuff.
I think that's fucking weird. Yeah, but Facebook's a great example. I think it's for the same reason. It's attention seeking.
Yeah, I think it's attention
really think
seeking.
It's attention seeking.
Sure.
So, but then the part of the story that I think is interesting is then the woman, and she's a woman now, but she wasn't then, that he had this affair with says, hey, that wasn't an affair.
I like how you said that. Yeah.
It wasn't a fucking affair. I was 16.
They call
that was sexual abuse.
They call that rape, my friend. Yeah.
And she gets up and she tells her story. And her husband is standing there and her husband knows the whole story too, because he was in her life at the time this happened. Like he was a peer of hers at the time that this abuse happened. And she tells the story like, yeah, you fucking knew about this shit. You took my virginity in your office.
At 16.
At 16. Man, like when you're a grown ass person, you see a 16-year-old kid.
I know.
They are a kid. They look like a kid.
They're a kid.
That is not a sexually viable partner.
I'm interviewing graduate students right now for a position, and they look like little kids to me. They look like these are graduate students, man.
Right.
They've already got an undergraduate degree.
Yeah.
And I would card them if they came in to buy beer.
Yep. What the fuck is wrong with somebody? And the thing is, like, he's fucking garbage. He's a fucking rapist. Like, that's what he is.
A shitty person.
He didn't have an affair.
Yeah. No, he manipulated a young person to have sex with him. That's different than having an affair.
Right. And he did this not only as somebody who is older, but as somebody who's in a position of explicit authority and power.
Yeah.
He didn't have it. Like, his story he told in order to get his fucking forgiveness pats from his fucking audience of sycophants.
Why would you tell it with the person in the audience?
Room.
Like, if you knew that person was in the fucking audience and you knew you weren't going to get the same kind of head pats after they got done talking, you might think, well, maybe it isn't worth the head pats.
But like, I thought the same thing, but it's like, well, I bet he was counting on her staying silent.
That was a possibility of that.
Because,
yeah, sure.
and to be honest, he probably could have called. In most circumstances, he probably would have been right, because the result was the church didn't embrace her.
Yeah.
The church didn't come to her aid and comfort and succor.
No.
The church literally forgave him and embraced him.
Yeah.
For raping a 16-year-old in his office. The fuck is going on?
Yeah, and this is one of those things that, as time goes on, more and more stuff always comes to the surface. But in some cases, these people are so bold as to tell other people in their midst the trials and hardships they had.
Yeah.
But the hardships just happen to be, them raping somebody else, somebody who can't consent.
Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. And I think I have a different take on this than a lot of other people, but I really have a problem with the forgiveness mentality. That forgiveness is something that we are sort of owed as long as we feel bad about the thing that we did. And Christianity really kind of promotes that.
Sure.
And I think as a result, there's a lot less real accountability to the self.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more sort of like moral latitude that people allow themselves because they know that all they have to do is feel bad about it later.
Yeah. I think Christianity's version of forgiveness is terrible. I think forgiveness is a good thing.
Right.
Genuinely a good virtue. I think it is a good thing. But I don't think it's a good thing when it's perpetrated by the Catholic Church, because with the Catholic Church, or not Catholic, the Christian Church, because their idea of it is all you have to do is be sorry, and you don't even have to be sorry to the person who you did it to. You could just be sorry in general.
Right.
And you're okay.
Yeah, because he wasn't apologizing to her.
No.
He was saying like, by confessing, I should be forgiven.
I'm okay now.
I'm
good.
And I think that there's a level of this sort of like crowdsourced magnanimity, or whatever that word should be, like that's problematic. Like the crowd standing there, they now have this social pressure from one another and from their leader and from their holy book to be a part of this sort of forgiveness parade. And it's like all of that is ignoring the fact that you raped a 16-year-old.
Sure. And you're not accountable for it. And you never talk to her about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody is saying, hey, I don't actually give a shit about how you feel because you're a rapist.
Yeah.
And in this circumstance, the only person that should have any aid and comfort and succor should be the woman who is standing here brave enough to say, actually I was sexually assaulted.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a fucking problem. Like it's a really like structurally, I agree. Like forgiveness is as a peer-to-peer interaction or as like a personal.
However it works outside of religion, I think is fine. Yeah.
But religiously, it's a fucking nightmare.
It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare because it's a crutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was your age, nobody tweeted. We managed to have experiences. Phone was attached to a wall back at the house. It didn't have a camera.
What are you, Jeff Foxworthy? And a cell phone was the phone you called your pappy on to get you out of jail. A-doop-doop-doop-doop-doop.
This story comes from Yahoo. It also is on Rolling Stone. Trump endorsed her. Now she wants to use state power to crush the left and impose God's moral order.
Hold on a second. Let me put this on the screen. So people who are watching can see this. But man, the people who are at home, this is the most crazy-eyed person I've ever seen. If somebody could like it's like she wants to try to force her skin away from her skull. Right? I'm not wrong.
Man,
these are the craziest eyes I've ever seen. Check the show notes, guys. You have to see this.
You would not. This isn't somebody you would not let this woman walk your dog.
Yeah, you got to read some of this because of her agenda. So,
Jackie Eubanks is running for the Michigan legislature with a wholehearted endorsement from Donald Trump, who calls her an America First patriot. Banning contraception, gay marriage, and imposing the Christian moral order on the nation are part of her agenda. Eubanks, a Gen Z conservative who falsely claims Trump won the 2020 election.
What's Z?
It's after the millennials. So is it after Y?
There's no Gen Y, is there?
There is a Gen Y.
Is there?
Yeah, millennials are like 41 now.
Yeah, millennials are old now.
Yeah. So the
enjoy it. Suck it.
That's it.
Suck it, millennials.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then I think it's Gen.
You and I are both X.
We're X. Yeah. Gen X is like the generation like nobody's interested.
Nobody cares about. We
literally
nobody.
Nobody.
It's hilarious. It's so
like
funny.
Gen X also didn't care. That's like Gen X's thing.
I saw a tweet today that somebody said, it was like, baby boomers, it's time to pass the torch on to the millennials and Gen Z. Join me for this discussion, blah, blah, blah. And then, this one person jumps in and says, hey, what should Gen X do? Asking for several million friends. It's so funny, man. It's so funny. And there was like another article I saw too that said that Gen X was like made for the pandemic. Like, because we were all like latchkey kids. Like all of us were just like like left at home.
Yeah.
We had all and like when the pandemic came, we're like, yeah, man, I can fucking handle this shit. Whatever.
Like,
I don't give a shit.
Listen,
like whatever.
I raised myself.
I raised myself.
I will raise myself.
Fine.
I didn't need no fucking help when I was 8. I don't need your goddamn help now.
If I had to cook a rat when I was 7, I would cook a rat again. Yeah, it's so funny. It's like we seriously grew up in like prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like where you're like a prison kid and like you were like trading your friend your mac and cheese for his Doritos. You know what I mean? Terrifying shit. I my whole life, it's so funny because if you think about how kids are raised today, I know we're getting off subject, but it's okay.
It's fine.
But you think about how kids are raised today, it's so different from how my life growing up. I remember there was a creek that went by my house, behind my house, right? And so like we used to go down and we would play in that creek all day long, like literally all day. We're up to our waist, walking in this water, playing, catching crawdads, fishing in the creek. And then there's this one part where like you're jumping off. It had to be 20 feet above where we would jump off into maybe 4 feet of water. And we do it, Tom, we do it all the time. And when you jump off the top. And if you're familiar with the area, you know what a locks is. So a lock is where old timey they would stop the water in the river to make it equal the other side of the river, right? So that they have a lock system so boats could go from one to the other. Well, without like later on, the lock doors just get knocked off at a certain point in this one canal that runs through part of Illinois. And so the water just is it's like a canal, but it's not super deep. It's only like 3 or 4 feet deep. But these locks, they go up like 25 feet up off, and we would jump off the top of those locks
into that fucking short-ass water.
4 foot of water, and you would always hit the ground. You would smash into the ground. You would smash into the ground. We did it all the time. All the time. We did all this crazy shit. We used to climb the material service giant grain elevator thing.
Yeah,
we used to climb up and sit up and smoke cigarettes on top of that thing.
Throw rocks at barges and shit.
We used to throw rocks at trains. We used to play in the fucking train tunnel. We did. We're the fucking. I have no idea how I'm still alive.
Did you ever like go exploring the storm sewer system out of your neighborhood?
Absolutely, man.
My buddies and I used to like the culverts.
Yeah,
we'd like go in the culverts. And you would just like walk around and then like you would look up through the grates and try to scare people that were walking by yelling.
That's the best.
And like you would also like you'd be like, you'd get lost under there. I would get lost. I had no sense of direction in the above ground world. So like I would count on my friends who also had no sense. We're like 10, 11 years old. So you'd be like, look up through the grate and see if you can recognize something.
House, which is a house, and then try to find your way back.
We didn't like.
We figured it out eventually.
I didn't die under there, but yeah.
So when we were kids,
God, we did so much shit like that.
We went up to the grocery store that was like a mile away, and we stole a grocery cart. Right? And so we took the grocery cart down to the I&M Canal down by us. And underneath Georgia Pacific, which was a giant a paper company, there was this huge long tunnel where the canal went underneath it. And it had these steps, like little waterfalls that would jump off. And it wasn't super deep under there. It was only like an inch deep. And we called it the Gnarly Mobile. And we fucking used to ghost ride it. We would run as hard as you can and push it. And it would flip, it would make the loudest sound in the history of mankind. It sounded like a bomb going off. And it would flip ass over tea kettle and sometimes get back on its wheels and shake and bounce into a wall and spin and fall. And we used to have we would sit down there, Tom, for hours pushing as hard, taking turns, pushing as hard as we can this cart and just smashing it into stuff. We're like just like the worst children, man.
My buddy, I won't know his name. My buddy and I used to take, he would get not that often, once or twice, he got his hands on like M80s and quarter sticks.
Oh,
we would roll them in carpenter's glue and then wait for them to get tacky and then roll them in copper BBs.
Dude, shut the fuck up. That's a bomb, dude.
Then we would light them and throw them in this pond. And we called it frog hunting. And this pond was full of these big bullfrogs. So we took this thing and made shrapnel.
Yikes, dude.
And then we would like light it and hurl it into this like pond.
Yikes, dude.
And we 17 we are at this point. I remember he had 16 or 17 because he had a car. He's a year older than I was. So maybe I'm 16, he's 17. And we thought this was great fun. If anything went wrong, I'm dead. I'm so much dead.
Yeah, that's a bomb. You literally had a bomb. When we were kids, the lady next door to one of my friends died, and they were cleaning her house out, and they had a garbage bin out back, and you're a kid, you're a garbage dumper.
Oh,
you jump inside.
That's
fun. You'll find all kinds of stuff. And they had all kinds of furniture and stuff. They were just throwing in this big dumpster. We come across, and one of us opens up a box, and inside, you know those pickle jars, those big pickle jars, the ones that like they have at like food service places.
Yeah.
They're like 5-gallon pickle jars, whatever. We found like 7 of them full of fireworks.
Holy shit! It's the Mother Lotus, a teenage boy.
Manna from heaven, and they were old, and they were big,
unstable,
big, like half sticks of dynamite and shit.
Damn.
They were insane. And I remember we'd go down to the creek down there, and there'd be like a big pool, and you would take one of these, you light it, and we didn't do the BB thing. You just throw it in there, and it would kill all the fish in there, which is blood, and they would just like boom, and then like the fish would be like, thump,
shit,
thump, thump, thump. They would just die. Like you just murder all the fish because you're an asshole kid.
I don't even know if the BBs did anything or not, you know, like, because we rolled, like, I think and I may be wrong about this, but I think a lot of those, like, actually blow out the top and bottom. And don't
sure.
So but we're fucking stupid. Nonetheless, it wasn't a safe thing to do. Literally
you might as well
nobody
put
knew
nails
we were
on
doing
it and put it in your mouth.
Right. Yeah, I know. We also used to take my buddy used to drill a hole in a tennis ball, and we'd fill it with gasoline, and then you light it on fire, and then you'd hit it with a golf club into a field. And it would just like, if you hit it right, it would like trail like a meteor of flaming gas.
That's amazing, dude.
But also, lots could go wrong, and a house could, we just like the amount, I like literally could tell these stories all day.
I could tell these stories all day too, all day.
Because this is how we were raised.
This is how we were raised.
We weren't raised.
Yeah,
we raised ourselves.
We literally free range kids.
Yeah.
Like we did whatever we wanted. So
Gen Z, get the fuck out of here.
So we cut back now. It's just back to Gen Z. Gen Z. Let's talk about this here.
Gen Z, yeah. So this fucking lunatic, in an interview posted to her campaign Facebook page on Thursday, she insisted she is not a typical politician, quote, walking in the ways of the wicked, and said her campaign is a manifestation of God bringing together a coalition of true conservatives to save this country.
Banning contraception, gay marriage, and imposing a Christian moral order.
Yep.
This is an extremist. This is a Christian extremist.
Yeah.
This is what this is. That's what it is.
Yep.
That's what we're looking at right now.
This is handmaids. This is what they want.
And
man.
this is all over the country. There's little pockets of this. In Illinois right now, there's a governor race. And the governor race is a black conservative guy who I think is the mayor of Aurora.
Aurora.
Yeah. Yep. So he's your mayor.
He's my mayor.
But he's a conservative.
Yes, he is.
And then there's the current governor who's a Democrat, J.B. Pritzker, who nobody's going to primary because he's a billionaire and he's literally going to dump billions of dollars into this race. So it doesn't matter. And then there's another guy. And I saw a commercial today where the conservatives are now fighting because one of the conservatives wants to say that the mayor of Aurora, what's his name?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I don't remember his name either because I don't care because I'm not going to vote
literally
for
the same thing.
But in any case, the mayor of Aurora, he said in an email that he hates Trump and he thinks he's stupid. And they're using that as an attack ad for all the Trump voters in America or in Illinois. And then this guy from Aurora is using an attack ad for all the people that are anti-Trump to say that's too conservative for Illinois. So now they're fighting. And that's how the fight is playing out. And everybody thinks that J.B. Pritzker is way too left.
Right.
Which he's not, but it's
so not.
He's so not. He's so middle of the road, but it's like to them, anything, the Overton window shifts so far with Trump that even people who say they don't like Trump are leftist.
Yeah, right. Unless you're standing on an actual balcony with your arm outraised.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Trump did, and also somebody else famous did speeches from balconies with his fucking single arm out.
Jesus Christ, dude.
You remember when he stood on the balcony with his arm out with the fucking mask? When Trump did that? And you're like, dude, you look like Fat Hitler.
What are you doing?
Are you serious?
What are you
Get off the balcony.
What are you doing? Yeah, man. But there's a fight now between these ultra rights and these rights. And that's what I want. I want that fight to happen more.
Fight.
I want to be the guy who's feeding that fire. I want that fire to grow. I want them to fight each other.
Yeah.
And what I want to win is the people who are less vocal and less conservative. That's the people who I want to win because we already know that side is full of a ton of vocal shitheads.
It is. It's full of a bunch of toxic, poisonous assholes, and I hope they just rip themselves apart.
Yeah.
I hope they destroy their party and rip themselves in fucking twain and cannot be put back together again.
Yeah.
That is my genuine and sincerest hope. And there is some mild signs that might happen based on the Georgia race.
Yeah, some of the races where Trump had, Madison Cawthorn didn't make it. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but Madison Cawthorn did not make, he didn't win the primary, and then he was going to talk about dark MAGA or whatever afterwards.
Yeah, he had a weird dark MAGA thing. I sent it to Cecil, and Cecil's like, what a fucking loser. And I was like, you guys, I texted, I almost never do this, but every once in a while, in the middle of the week, I'll just find a story and I'll be like, what is I just put in our show notes.
Yeah.
But I sent it to Cecil, and Cecil just types back, he's like, what a fucking loser.
Well, the tweet was something like, Madison Cawthorn is going to bring forth the forces of dark MAGA. And I was like, what a fucking nerd. Get the fuck out of here.
And then I was like, no, wait, man, dark MAGA is really a thing. Look, the definition is this. And Cecil's like, he's still a fucking loser. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
He's a
fucking
loser.
loser.
But it's like, it's one of those
things
things
to fuck his cousin's mouth as a private citizen now. No more fucking your cousin's mouth on my dime, Madison Cawthorn.
Maybe that's dark MAGA. Who knows? Oh, God, it's so funny. No, but seriously, like Madison Cawthorn, a couple of these other people who have been primaried, they lost, right? The guy who's fighting against Kemp.
Yeah,
Purdue, the guy who lost to Warnock or Ossoff. I don't know, one of them.
Yeah.
He lost to one of them. I think he lost to Warnock.
I don't know, but he's good at losing because he fucking lost again, you giant loser.
So, and that's a guy who's got Trump right with him.
Yep.
So,
and Trump wanted Georgia real bad.
He wanted those people to win, and he wanted to see that. But we're seeing this sort of like, it's not the Midas touch that it was 4 years ago.
Yep. Hopefully, it collapses in on
I
itself.
hope it does, and I hope. And now they're talking about. I saw today there was some talk that the January 6th committee has uncovered some comments that make it seem like Trump was encouraging them to hang Pence or whatever.
Oh, I saw something like that. He was like approving of
the rhetoric of them chanting. So like, I don't know what that means, right? You got to be in that room, and they're getting snippets, but we're not. You're not in that room, so you just don't know. But like.
This fucking January 6th thing is the most fucking blue balls teasinest fucking thing.
I know, dude.
Like, just fucking let me pop.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Let me go.
What are you doing?
Man. Yeah, man. But in any case, hopefully it's not the Midas touch that it once was. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully that's the case.
And they are coming for your contraception.
Yeah. No,
they're coming for your contraception.
And they're coming for LGBT.
They are.
They're coming for those people. They're gonna do this. They're gonna, even though in this unreleased ruling, it says specifically this isn't what we're doing. They're doing
it. And I just gonna read one more thing real quick because I don't want anyone to think that it's like Tom and Cecil making this up. She says, this is a quote from her. She says, "We see everything going on with Roe right now. The left becoming completely uncorked, losing their minds. They're saying they're coming after your gay marriage next. They're coming after your birth control." He paused a beat before adding with a smile, "Well, you know what? Yeah."
Yeah. Birth control. How the fuck are you the party of small government and be like, no, man, birth control, you can't have it anymore?
You're not there.
Could you get a vasectomy in birth if you can't get birth control? Then
I don't think so. I do think you can, right? Because I think that all rights are stripped from women. They never take rights away from men.
You're right. So that's going to wrap it up for this week. We want to thank you for joining us on YouTube. Of course, we want you to, do all those YouTube things. If it's, we want you to subscribe. We want you to like. We want you to share this with your friends. We want you to comment. We want you to go back and watch our old videos. We want you to do all the things that make this channel grow. So if you know some things that can help this channel, whether it's one of those things or a new thing, help it grow. Help it get bigger. That's the thing we want. So thank you so much for joining us. We are going to leave you, like we always do, with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno Babylon bullshit. couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, water downward spiral, brain deadpan, sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death and towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.